The forum is officially opened. Let's move to the next agenda, which is conference session. We have two main speakers for this event. And we also have someone from Indonesia. Thank you so much. Let's move to the next agenda. We have the first speaker, and he is an SDGs activist who are currently staying in Bali Island, Indonesia. He's Mr. Manuel Bergmann, and he's staying in Bali right now. He's the CEO of social enterprise called Coaching for Cause. This enterprise brings people, coaches, and charities together for sustainable living. He's also a passionate sustainable activist and video maker who tries to inspire as many people as possible. Now, let's go to the speaker sessions. Mr. Manuel Bergmann, are you here?
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I'm actually right now in Germany, so it's early morning, but I'm really excited to be here and to share about my project and what what everyone can do to take action for the planet. Can I share my screen?
UNESCO is really for Ukrainians, to make them love Ukrainian cuisine, to revive and to...
One second. Can everyone see my screen?
Yeah, we can see it.
Yes.
Awesome. So I want to talk today about like being an imperfect environmentalist, that small actions make a difference, and it's not about being perfect, it's about getting started and taking action for the planet. So I will first talk a little bit about my journey so you can kind of relate and implement also or get inspired by it. And then I will talk about what is sustainability, the tools to make a long-lasting impact, and then of course like how to inspire others to take action for the planet. And then we will have a short Q&A session. So a little bit a background about myself. So after high school, I did an education as a fitness trainer. So I originally come from a sports background, and I didn't have much knowledge on like sustainability, climate action, and so on. But after some time, I wanted to kind of travel and volunteer at different organizations. So I went to Iceland, Africa, Indonesia, and so really the effects on climate change, and it inspired me to take action. And especially I went to when I went to Bali, I did a workshop at the Green School. For anyone who doesn't know the Green School, it's a school that teaches about holistic learning, sustainability, and the whole campus is made out of bamboo. And it's a really fascinating place. And I joined their workshop and learned like the first time really about the problems we are facing in the world, and that we need to take action for the planet. As well, I saw firsthand in Bali the problem with plastic pollution. You see in the streets, in the beaches, in the oceans, and the harm it has on wildlife. Here in Germany, we don't see so much trash laying around. It's still there. We still produce a lot of trash, but it's not so visual. So it really opened my eyes, and I didn't want to be part of the problem anymore. I wanted to be part of the solution. So like being in Bali and having that experience, it's inspired me also to create my own project. And as I mentioned before, I come originally from a coaching background, like fitness coach. And then I learned all these things about sustainability and climate action. And I volunteered at different organizations. But I always had the struggle of continue to support like charity organizations. I visited them, I volunteered, I tried my best to help them fundraise, but I was not able to do it in a sustainable way, like long term. So I kind of combined my two passions, which is like coaching, helping people, and helping charities as well, and created the project. It's called Coaching for Cause. It's basically an online platform that brings people, coaches, and charities together for sustainable living. And we help people live a more sustainable lifestyle and take action for the planet while helping charities as well. So when people go to the platform, they can choose a sustainability topic of their choice, and then we help them with their problem, and they can support a charity with a percentage. So that's the project I created about 2 years ago. And yeah, I'm really happy how it's going. And these are some charities we collaborating with. Some of them are in Indonesia, but also all around um, the world and in different areas like waste, conservation, education, climate action. So we really try to bring everything together. And then last year, and a lot of like people, animals were suffering or under like these conditions, and also charities lost funding. So we had coaching for cause. We are a team of coaches and different experts in different fields, and presenting about the topic. And we donated all the profits from these webinars in April to different charities to help them through this difficult time. So we raised money for Crisis Kitchen that deliver food packages to people in need, to Social Impact, which delivers water filters, to Bali Animal Welfare Association that provides food and care for animals in Bali, to Haka Indonesia, which protects the rainforest in Sumatra, the Loise ecosystem, the only place where still like rhinos, elephants, tigers and orangutans exist in the wild. So a really special place. So that was really a big impact that we had last year to really help and throughout this COVID period. So now I want to jump more into the topic, like what is actually sustainability? So when we think about sustainability, we need not to only think about the environment, but also the social and the economic part. So sustainable development is development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. So it needs to include all aspects. We cannot only talk, as I mentioned before, about the environment. We need to also protect people. Like a lot of Asia, especially, is most affected by one of the regions that is most affected by climate change. So it's really to understand that it's about nature, of course, like protecting nature, but it's also protecting people and making sure they're safe. Why is it important that we try our best to live a sustainable lifestyle? You might have heard that we are using more natural resources that the earth can sustain himself. Like we need 1.75 earths to sustain ourselves in average. And you can see on the right side of the graphic, like the different countries, how many earths they use on resources. And yeah, Germany, where I'm coming from, is quite up there. Like Asia is not using so many resources, but I think we can all try our best, you know, to make a difference and to ensure that the generations right now and future generations can enjoy a habitable world, because it affects like the ecosystem, and even more climate catastrophes happen. So, and sadly, the part is that people who contribute less to the problem are affected the most by climate change. Yeah. So like USA, Australia, they're using five earths on average on natural resources. That's a lot. Yeah, so maybe you can comment in the chat, what would you say is your current level on knowledge on living sustainably or like climate action? You can like 1 kind of beginner, 10, okay, I know almost everything. Yeah, can write that in the chat. I'm just checking where I can see the chat. All right, here. Awesome. 2, 9, 5, 2, 5, 6, 10. Oh wow, I hope you learned something. Still 6, 6. All right, awesome. Yeah, let's see what your knowledge will be after this presentation. I hope it increases by a few numbers or one number at least a little bit. All right. So I'm going to talk about the tools to make a long-lasting impact. I define that by individual action and community action. We will first talk about individual action. So what we can do on an individual level. I really love this quote by Jane Goodall. Yeah, you cannot get through a single day without having an impact on the world around you. What you do makes a difference, and you have to decide what kind of difference you want to make. Like that's also how I try to live every day. Like all the choices that we make throughout the day have an impact. Either it's good or bad, and we have the choice to choose what impact we want to make. So I really want to inspire you to think about your daily choices and how it affects yourself, others, and the planet. All right, individual action. Here we go. Yeah, one thing is like to reduce consumption by being conscious about what you really need, and to find out what my best advice would be, like to find out your why. Why do you want to help the planet? Why do you want to take climate action? Like what's your motivation? Because this keeps you going long term. When you sometimes you don't feel like it, helping the planet or taking action, there are always like up and downs. But when you know your why, you keep going because you know why you're doing it. And yeah, it is estimated that an average adult makes like 35,000 choices per day, consciously and unconsciously. So like being more conscious about our action and living more intentional can make a big difference. And yeah, with products, or like ask yourself, do I really need it? Say no to single-use plastic and use what you already have. Yeah, just when you go to the supermarket, if there is like vegetables wrapped in plastic and without, make the choice to choose them without. Like just something simple things, but they add up to a big difference. So now I come to the point, like which this presentation is also about, like not, you don't need to be perfect. Like when people try to start, what I've experienced, they feel overwhelmed and don't know where to start, and they want to do it perfectly because they see all these people out there taking action, starting their own project, raising awareness, and they sometimes feel kind of that they can't be perfect, so they don't even start because they think they cannot reduce their consumption, they cannot take action like perfectly. So it's like they are hesitating to start. So I really want to encourage you to start and make mistakes and learn from them. It's totally fine. Like I love this quote. It's by Zero Waste Chef, and I've created like a community sign and to bring people together. It says, we don't need a handful of people doing zero waste perfectly. We need millions of people doing it imperfectly. And you can apply this to climate action, sustainable living. It doesn't have to be zero waste. Just in general, we need more people like doing and taking action for the planet imperfectly. No one is perfect from us. Myself as well. I'm still not like reduce my consumption like almost zero. Like I still use plastic, and that's totally fine. But we can try our best together. And there's another quote that I really like, and like small actions, lot of people, big impact. So let's all take small actions throughout the day and have a big impact together. Another thing that you can do for an individual action is to reduce your food waste, to be mindful with your food, to not throw away your valuable organic waste, turn leftovers or food scraps into something delicious, and compost and create your own compost bin. So food waste is a big one. It produces a lot of carbon dioxide, especially when it ends up in landfills, when it's not separated. Like if you don't separate organic waste and recyclable waste, the organic waste can't, like the recyclable waste can't be recycled, and the organic waste just creates a lot of carbon dioxide. So it's important also to separate your waste. Eat less animal products. That's a big one. I think for a lot of people might be hard, because meat is also integrated in the culture, and it doesn't need to be that you like stop eating meat completely right away or at all, but it can mean that you might integrate some meatless days throughout the week, or even meatless meals. So like you can start with just, okay, today lunch I'm switching to a plant-based meal. That could we already make a difference. It's not, as I said, it's not about being perfect. It's about taking action and making that difference, because eating a plant-based diet could be one of the greatest ways to reduce your environmental impact on the planet and to help save animals. Avoid eating meat and dairy could reduce your carbon footprint by nearly 75%, according to a study by University of Oxford. And meat has such a higher impact or footprint than vegetables, grains, or beans. Like when you look at this, a single pound of beef takes on average 1,800 gallons to produce. That's a lot, trust me. But yeah, it's a sensitive topic, and it's important to respect anyone's decision and not force people to change. It's not only when we talk about like meat consumption, but it's also talking about like when we talk about plastic, social issues, and so on. It's really to not judge others, because that's kind of one of the mistakes that I had at the beginning. I was like, oh, why are you using this? That's bad for the planet. But you're not really encouraging people, you're discouraging others to take action, because they don't feel motivated anymore if you kind of judge them for it. You want to lead by example. Then a great one is like to repair instead of buying new. It also saves money. So if something breaks, you repair it instead of buying something new. Another big topic is to choose sustainable transportation whenever possible. It's also here again about trying your best. No one is perfect. Sometimes you cannot avoid flying. You cannot avoid taking the car, and it's totally fine. But when you can, walk for short distances, ride your bicycle, or use public transportation if available. It always comes down to these small actions and combined with a lot of people. Then another individual action that you can do is to support organizations that are doing good for the planet. You can support charities for free through social media. A lot of charities are struggling currently with funding. With this pandemic, a lot of funding got cut, what I've experienced. And but just sharing your favorite charities on social media can have a big impact for them. You might not be able to make a donation, but maybe your friends can. And what is also a great way now in the pandemic, if you want to get experience and knowledge on these issues, maybe volunteer online. There's still some things that you can do online. If you have some skills in a certain area that the charity can benefit, maybe help them out for some time. There are so many ways to do good. Then an important point for individual action to advocate for people and the planet. We need to advocate for the people whose voices are unheard and who face the largest threat of the climate crisis. What I really like to do is to document your journey on social media, connect to like-minded people, and speak up. So environmental justice is social justice. Now we come to community action. I hope everyone is still following me. We will have a Q&A session soon if you have any questions. What you can do, so when you started, what I always recommend is to start on an individual level, like, okay, to take action personally first, and then you can start inspiring others, or gathering and bringing people together. Right now with COVID, it's hard to like bring people like actually physically together, but you can still do online events, or like a beach cleanup where everyone cleans up their area by themselves or with a few group of people, and you can organize that online to bring people together for positive change. Like there's so many ways. You can host an online community gathering, like just a Zoom event where you talk with your friends about environmental issues or the SDGs, what we could do, maybe start a project. Another great idea would be to host an environmental documentary screening to watch together with your friends. an environmental documentary, and then after share about it, what you felt, how it made you feel, what we can do to take no action, how this inspires us. What we do often with coaching courses also like organize an eco quiz. So we can, like a quiz with eco questions, and our members ask or answer them, and we discuss about some important questions. So when you have started taking individual actions, you can then move like to the next step, which is like community action. Then the next step would be even to demand action from businesses and government. So to help organize a march for climate in your city, especially before like the COVID situation, you might have heard about like the Fridays for Future movement, where everyone started like going to the streets and advocating for climate action. You can create or join petitions to demand action from the government. You can write letters to businesses to demand change, hold our companies accountable on social media. So what we have done is actually also at some businesses to write them if there are any solutions to change from single use to reusables, because if you change how the business is, for example, they're not using plastic bags anymore, but they're using like reusable bags, it makes a big difference because they're producing or using so much of them. So if you get them to change, that has a big impact. So these are some ideas for community action. And I get often the question on how we can inspire others to love and protect nature. And I always answer lead by example. And some people might get frustrated. They say, okay, but they don't want to change and they don't want to take actions. They are not interested in, saving the planet. We only have, 9 more years until like to limit the climate catastrophes. And I always say, like, really start leading by example, start taking action for yourself, because then you are able to help others and they get inspired. For example, you start bringing your usable items, or you talk about it in social media, you gather people, and your friends or your family will notice, okay, wow, what is he doing? Like, this sounds very interesting. And they will start the conversation and ask questions. And then you can share about your project and so on. But I think it doesn't help, in my opinion, to go to people who are not taking action and saying, okay, you're doing a bad job, you need to change, how can you do this, and making them feel bad, because I think it pushes them away from even considering to take action. And even if they don't want to change right now, when you lead by example and you do take actions, it might plant a seed, and they will come back and get inspired by it later. So I really hope with this short presentation, I was able to plant some seeds and that will grow as a tree, and you can take action for the planet. What would you say is your level of knowledge on sustainability now? Has it increased? Did you learn something? I would love to know in the chat. Just opening. Oh, I got a lot of questions here that we can answer soon. Oh, 10, awesome. It takes definitely some time. Like we always learning, even when we are at 10 and we think we know everything, it's like sustainability or like action for the planet. It's always changing, always evolving, always new statistics coming out. So it's like a never ending cycle. 7, 8, great. That's awesome. 10, 8, wow. Cool. I want to also raise awareness about a campaign that we are currently doing. We are running a crowdfunding campaign as well, to kind of also do events on the ground in Asia, and as well expand our online community of eco warriors. I will share the link in the chat later, and also to our Instagram account if you want to check out what kind of projects we're doing or supporting us, or like join our community of like-minded people. Let me share it in the chat later.
Okay.
Awesome. So now we
So
have time for Q&A. Yes.
yeah, so can we go to the Q&A? We already received so many questions from the chats, and we also have three
Yeah.
persons want to speak up and deliver the questions in voice. And can I choose it for you, sir? So to make
Yes.
it quick, and I suggest you to, we have only 15 minutes, so I hope that we can answer most of the questions. But in case we couldn't answer it, maybe we can share Mr. Bergmann email so you can
Yes.
ask
We'll
to him
share it in the
directly.
chat,
Okay,
right?
the very first question is from Agung Pratama from Indonesia. He realized that Indonesia choose to grow their economic by adding more emissions. By adding more emissions, the decision to make the economic growth unfortunately make more emissions being created. So the question is that how is it for what do you think of how is it for the developing countries like Indonesia to achieve economic growth without sacrificing the environments? What
That's
do you think of that?
a
Yeah, this
very
is
difficult,
it's a
difficult
difficult
question. I
question.
think a lot of people are struggling with, and the Indonesian, like I think the government as well, or like generally all over the world, like how do we, you know, inspire like economic growth without compromising the environment, and especially now with COVID, like the impact that it has on tourism and the loss of like economic growth, and everyone wants to, you know, come back from losing so much economic growth. So I think it's really making them understand that it's not when you hurt the environment, or like if you cut down the forest and trees and so on, or pollute the oceans, it really has a long-term effect. Like it's not sustainable. We will pay back what we destroy, if that makes sense. So I think it's really making them understand that if you compromise the environment, you will feel the effects later. Like might solve the problem like immediately, but you will feel it like in 10 years, 20 years, it will come back to you. So I think it's like making the politicians all around the world, not only in Indonesia, like everywhere, understand it's happening in Germany, Europe, Asia, United States, like everyone, to make them understand that you cannot compromise the environment for economic growth. And there needs to be a balance, and finding solutions within that.
I see. So, yeah, I think that's the biggest challenge is if the country didn't realize that sacrificing the environment is not the options. So I think the best solution for both economic growth and environment could be done. So yeah, the solution is that make them understand. That's the first, because if they don't understand, they will keep doing the same mistakes. So let's go to
Exactly.
the next questions. Um, I kind of confused on how to choose the best questions because most of them are really a good one. But do you have any pressures in starting your enterprise? Do you have any question doing everything that you have done so far, and how we can like get some funds? How we can get more connection with that without corridor, without like behind connection and stuff? So the question is too, what is the pressure? Do you have any pressures doing it? And how you can make the connections with the people, the governments or important person that will help you and your community a lot?
Mm. So I don't feel any pressure. Like I do it because I feel I know my why. I think I've talked about this in the presentation, to really know why you're doing it, because this motivates you. It gives you power. It gives you energy to take action when you know your values. So I don't feel pressure. I think sometimes of course you have challenges and so on, but I do it like out of self motivation, like because I want to take action. I want to do something. Like we haven't collaborated with any government yet. We have collaborated with charities that are working closely with government, so we're kind of combining our forces, because this is not yet something we focus on. Like it's more we look for charities to support who are doing that already, that already have the connections. Sometimes you don't need to be the person doing it, but you can support someone else doing it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that I agree for that. If you feel pressure, guy, if you feel stressed, if you face so many challenges and so many obstacles in your life doing it, just go back to the reason why you do it. Just go back to your purpose, why I do it. It's so difficult, then why I do it. And that way you will realize that you really want to do it more and more. Maybe that
Yes,
way you will get more energized and okay, I can do that and stuff. So
yes, and it should make fun, you know, like this
yeah,
taking action for the planet should be in a fun way.
yeah.
Yeah,
So that's why I advise you to do it the way you love it. If you love doing the environments, then do it. If you love focusing on education, then do it. Don't pressure yourself doing something that you don't like. I think you will
exactly.
do more impactful like that, right? So,
Yes,
more
because it's not
question.
long term. Sorry.
Yeah, it's a long term. It's based on love, actually. So, two more questions. And I think most of the our leaders are facing the same thing. They are being and they are being mistaken. They are being they're seen as someone as not capable. Like people see them, you're not good enough, you're not capable enough, you are too young to do this kind of activities. Who are you and stuff? I
Mm.
think most of the questions are about that. What do you think they should do to make sure or to prove that they are capable of doing it?
So I think you're never too young to take actions. It's amazing that we also have here high school students, and it's really, you know, the looking at the people now that take climate actions and advocate for, you know, taking action for the climate. We really see more young people, you know, popping up and making like the and just get going, and you will find people who help you support on the journey. My screen is frozen. I hope you were able to hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Thank you so much. One more questions and we go to the next agenda. How do you
Sure.
incorporate your fitness coaching skill into your sustainability projects? Yeah, it's kind of
Yes.
so different, but you can make it.
Yes, it actually helped me a lot because I know how to, you know, help people because I coach people to get stronger and fitter. So I know the coaching process of and how to get how to make or like how to inspire people get results. And so I learned a lot like about the coaching process, like how it works with coaching and inspiring people. So I think that was the biggest thing that I've learned from like the fitness coaching experience before.
I see. So I think it inspires us because
Mm,
even if the thing that you want to do and the thing that you have in yours are so different, we always can make it work.
exactly.
Mr. Manuel decided to choose his coaching skill from the fitness experience to start a sustainability project by making people listen to him a lot. So I think that's a great thing. So we can learn from him of that. So thank you so much for Mr. Manuel Bergmann for your time. Thank you so much for answering the question as well. I'm so
I will,
sorry for all the
no
leaders
problem.
that
I will share my Instagram and email and the links in the chat. So if anyone has a question, please don't hesitate. I see so many questions right now. Please just go to send the questions either on Instagram or email, and I will answer it in a few hours.
oh, I see. So guys, we have his Instagram. It's easier to contact him. So just please connect to him. Then maybe you can learn something about
Yes,
coaching
I will
skill
make
or
sure
fitness
to
skill
answer
or
every question.
sustainability.
Yes,
Yeah, that's
great to
great.
connect with everyone. I shared
Mhm.
it in the chat. Yeah, you can
Yeah,
just
okay.
click.
We already
Yeah.
have the Instagram account. Please follow him. I will also follow you as well for this. Thank you so
Yay.
much for your time.
Thank you for
And
having me.
yeah, I
Yes.
learned something to conclude the session of Mr. Manuel Bergman's. that I have 3 points. The first is that every single decisions that you take on your life, no matter what, will give an impact toward your environments and people around you. So be mindful of everything that you choose to do. Buying something, taking more plastic and stuff, maybe those are small decisions, but it become an impact, it give an impact towards around you. So be mindful. And the second, perfection is not the goals of starting something, but make it done, make it finish is what matters of starting something. So help yourself first, and then you can help the world. Start from
Yes, happy
yourself,
Sabbath.
and then you can start doing more for the world. Thank you so much, Mr. Manuel. Thank you so much for all of the readers who are paying attention. And let's go to the next questions. But before